Hello, welcome to Awwwards Academy. I'm Rachel and I'm going to be your host on today's live session. We are streaming live from Awwwards Academy. Awwwards Academy is an interactive e-learning experience for digital creatives like yourselves, full of talks, live sessions like this one, and courses. So there's a workshop coming up that I think you'd be really interested in. It's Designed Beyond the Screen by Hani Rizik, and it's all about digital solutions if you want to get away from using screens and leveraging technology in a healthy way. So we've got some tickets left for that. I think that you should get a ticket, and you can find them if you go to the link in the description, and we're going to put it in the chat now. So yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please, while you're here. And let's kick off the show. Let's meet today's jury. Jury, we're ready for you. Hello. Hello, Jonas.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Just waiting for Peter as well. So, Jonas, hello. He's our lead juror. Jonas Lempa, partner and creative director at Taikonauten. Hello, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Saying hi from Berlin out to the world. And I'm so pleased to have this session today with Nahel and Peter. So really looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Rachel, to give me, again, the opportunity to be part of this great format.
Always lovely to have you back, Jonas. So we're welcoming to the show Nahel Moussi. She's a freelance visual designer. So hello, Nahel, welcome.
Hello, really happy to be here, and thanks for this opportunity.
It's lovely to meet you, and we're looking forward to today's show. And the man, the legend, Peter Smart.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see you all. It feels so weird being in an awards session and not in front of thousands of people all together, but I'm beaming in here from currently very sunny California. I hope wherever you guys are, you are cozy and warm. Hope you are all safe as well. Great to see you all.
So Peter is usually the host of our conferences. So Peter joins awards all around the world. Earlier this year, we were in Tokyo and Amsterdam with him. So it's a real pleasure to get him on the show and hang out virtually. All right, so let's get on with it. I'm going to leave you in Jonas's capable hands. Remember, put your questions and comments in the YouTube chat, and we'll make today nice and interactive. So I'll leave you, and I'll join you at the end for the Q&A. Have a good one, and I'll leave you with Jonas.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
Bye.
So first of all, also thank you, Nahel and Peter. It's such a great opportunity. How do you feel?
Feeling great. Hey, but here's the thing, Jonas. I've been sneaking in the background, okay? I've been looking at the live comments on the YouTube, and Stephen from Hello Monday, whose website we are reviewing, is in the live comments right now. So just to set context, Stephen, I hope you're going to be okay. He's talking about having heart attacks. I don't want to give you a heart attack. It's going to be good, man. It's all good.
Definitely. Very looking forward to look today at the Bartlett Summer Show 2020 by Hello Monday, a beautiful, crazy website we chose to review today, trying to empathize with the creators, trying to look on why it won the side of the day from the perspective of design, usability, creativity, and content. And we are really looking forward to that, since we also have a little bit, Peter and Nahel, also a little bit of background in building beautiful websites for museums and for cultural institutions. So really looking forward to deep dive into that. Some of these highlights we are going to look at is from the usability, through animations, transitions, also looking on the content and the sensitive use of motion, in particular the WebGL. We also got a small slide or quick introduction from the awards team regarding some technical aspects based by the page speed insights. So we are not going to go too deep into this topic, but it's also great to see that there's also a lot of green check marks, and that's also why it won the Dev Award. But let's continue and jump directly into the website and trying to enjoy this great experience.
It's amazing to see, just as you're loading up your screen here, Jonas, where everyone is coming in from. I'm seeing people from Colombia, from India, from Montana. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's fun.
Definitely, definitely. So let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah,
We got it.
Great. So let's enter it. The summer Bartlett, the Bartlett School of Architecture Summer Show. So, Peter, you would like to give us a quick intro of what this summer show is meant to be and why it's experienceable through the web.
Yeah, definitely. So I think what's really lovely, just as a point of context, is I don't know how many of us all who are watching this session studied any form of design or architecture or art or illustration or anything like this in an educational institution. One of the big things that happens is that you work and you work and you work for 3, perhaps 5 years. And at the end of that time, this is your big moment to reveal yourself to the world. And traditionally, how that's done is, yep, you might have a digital presence, but you're going to have a summer show. There's going to be a physical thing where lots of people in the industry are invited, your peers, and they all get to be exposed to the amazing work and effort you've put in to all that you've done in that period of time. But here we are in 2020, and what's different about 2020 is that we all can't be together to do this kind of thing. So when I first saw the fact that we were going to be reviewing this website, I was just so excited because it's the digital manifestation of what was traditionally a physical summer show where you can show off all of your great work. So I hope that gives everyone some great context into what this website is. What you're going to see in here is lots of students and how they've responded to individual modules and courses throughout the course of their time. So I hope that kind of sets the stage for everybody.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, Nahel, so what is your first impression when we are entering the site?
Yeah, so the first impression is like this animation with the word summer is waiting. I find that works really great, how all the shapes are combined together. I find the loader with the color gradient on it works really well. So everything looks like really pretty, not really summer, and works well. I'm just a little bit surprised that I don't have this feeling of summer more on the website, just like on the loading. But yeah, let's see the rest of the page of the website.
Definitely. I mean, my first impression, for example, is you probably know or remember the background of Netflix when you used to sign in or log in, and it reminds me a little bit of this isometric view, and things are moving, and I immediately have the feeling that there's some media, some content to enjoy, and I think that's a great first impression, especially in the context how Peter described it, the summer show 2020, how important it is, and that you really can have this introduction of a really cool immersive experience.
I'm actually really curious, just in the live comments, if people want to write whether they did or didn't ever have a show themselves, if they actually have been through this experience, let us know, because you might empathize with some of what we're about to go through here. It'd also just be great to know if we have folks who maybe didn't go and study traditionally and have learned a different way. Let us know in the live comments.
Definitely. Perfect. Peter, we definitely, you can see the experience of hosting so many events. So.
That's true. That is so true.
Got to keep it interactive, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
that.
But speaking of interactivity, let's explore and see the introduction and the transition in going deep into the great artworks, the great shows, the great work of all these graduates and students. And let's enjoy one more time this great transition, which I think is very interesting, because with this transition, you also got decoded how the navigational system looks like. Yeah, so you immediately know I have the possibility to scroll through the different artworks and through the different pieces with an adaptive background, which would be interesting if it's automatically or if it's done manually. So maybe the Hello Monday guys watching can tell us and give us some insights about that. But what do you guys are thinking of this first impression?
I think it's really lovely. It's like a really lovely transition. All this image with like this background, and we are here at the end. How to not like it? About the content, I'm a little bit like questioning a lot of things, like what means PG-10? What is this title? Who are these people, like Lauren Allen and like Max Smoot? I have no clue, and sometimes it can be like hard to read too. But I find visually it's great, and I want to know more.
Yeah, I had that same feeling. If there was one thing about this intro that I loved, it was the fact that I didn't have to learn anything. There was nothing that had to teach me like how to use this interface. And if there's one thing that I wish was there, it would be teaching me the context of actually what I'm looking at. I think that if there was just something that said, well, hey, look, what you're about to look through here, it took me about 10, 15 minutes to work this out, that these are all different modules that the students can all take. So for example, like systemic impact is a module which multiple students have responded to with incredible like architectural solutions. Dive in and explore that module. Like I just wish that had been explained, but that the intro itself in terms of design and motion, and you're right, Jonas, the way that the color just offsets the image here in the center is just really, really thoughtful.
I think what is also very beautiful is that it's kind of like postcards coming to life, yeah, and getting alive, like in the Harry Potter movie or whatever, and with very simple shapes, you can give some kind of depth. We all know these tricks, but I mean, basically, we don't have so many design elements, but still, we have a very interesting perspective on that. And really invites you to scroll and to enjoy these different artworks. Even if, Nahel, you already mentioned it, sometimes it's pretty hard to read the copy on those pictures. I think that there are also some easy tricks or easy way to solve problems like that. And again, we are facing with this somehow the question, well, how can we balance artworks or art with the idea of design solving problems? And I think this is always a very interesting balance to achieve and to go into it.
Yeah, I find you said something like really interesting about the animation when the user is hovering the image in the background. We already saw that so many times. But on this website, even if I already see that before, I still really enjoy it. I think it's all the composition and like the simplicity of it make it work it so well. Yeah.
That's true. So should we join and go into one of the great galleries we have here?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
All right. Drums, please.
Ooh.
Look at that little load. That's cool.
I love that.
That's actually like, I watched that a few times when I was kind of browsing through the site before. And it's honestly really, really thoughtful. Like it's such a simple, again, so much of this site is the like the elevation of simplicity. Like that's kind of how I would describe this, that it's just reduced down to like its most simple form, but yet it's really powerful like in that way. And in a part of, I think what we're trying to do here is decode for all of like the aspiring like website designers, like why did this win? Like what is it that's about this site that just makes it special? And I think that for me is one of the things where even just in that transition, literally all you see there is two panes moving. Now you can see my hands, but you're just seeing like these two panes, right? But it evokes such a good feeling. It's this idea of a doorway that you are being transported. And of course, the doorway metaphor is so right for an architecture school of, so I think just in general, this site is really successful in almost being overstated, like in its simplicity, which is pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah. I think there are many few little things which make these experiences even more immersive. You can't hear that, but there's always, when you scroll, a small click that you know that there's some kind of next module or next work is coming from. And this is especially great when we have such a simple website or such a simple interface, using even different dimensions to help you to navigate, which is sometimes we forget that this is the magic of sound, or the magic of sound, or adding sound helps you to even experience things even more on a different level, which helps you in a great way.
Yeah, someone in the live comments here has asked the question, how would you fix some of those like typographic issues and concerns? And yeah, it's a fantastic question. I can tell you now that like if an ADA compliance like individual was looking at this site, like it probably wouldn't pass. And that, as Jonas mentioned, is this really interesting thing, because this is truly about art. Like when you walk into a museum, like often you can kind of go into a museum and there's like no wall text and like no explanation whatsoever. And so there's this balance here of like how much did the Hello Monday and like Bartlett team like want to make everything like super accessible, or how much they really kind of want to like just leave you to explore. But some of the easy tricks that I think could be employed when it comes to just some of this, the text legibility, particularly on that intro screen, are just like lowering the opacity like of the background images. I think the students also have chosen artwork themselves to kind of showcase, and I think that there could have been some guidelines in there around choosing background images with higher color contrast ratios. Obviously, this makes it a little challenging for folks who have eyesight and kind of reading perhaps difficulties. So yeah, it's potentially easy to fix with a couple of both style guide, but also then kind of opacity tweaks. But thanks for the question there, Ben.
Yeah, or another easy quick fix would be that there's actually some hover. Yeah, so at the moment we don't have any hover, so the text color or the copy color could change. Yeah, a little bit like we have it on the button, especially when it's also on dark. You actually can't really see that this is a button. Yeah, so having some kind of reaction on your mouse movement is always helpful to show that you can actually explore something in this area.
Yeah, or even like this opacity, when the user like hovers the art. At this moment, the art can be more on the back, in line with the background, with having less opacity, and like that the text is more legible.
All right, so now we are in the gallery, exploring the work of different people, different students, positioned in a way where you really need to explore in a dark room. But even with these small, very easy shapes, it gives you immediately a feeling of room, and a great possibility to see and explore which work is there, and how you can easily navigate to them, even if it's sometimes hard to find the actual interaction model, the actual elements which are interactive. It's a lot about exploring things and showing where you can go and what you can experience.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I know Steven's actually in the live comments. Like, shout out to you guys and the Hello Monday team. Like we've done like Fantasy a whole bunch of like cultural institution, like museum experiences, like the Academy of Motion Pictures Museum, George Lucas Museum, the Met Museum. Like I'm very like kind of deep in like the museum world. And what I love about this is I spent therefore a lot of time like in museums, like when that was a thing, when we were allowed to kind of go out. And there is an amazing feeling that I love when I'm in a museum space, which is just getting lost in that space. Like for once, like not having to be way found or told like a route to go and funneled through a purchase flow. Actually, like in a museum, you can truly just walk into a space and just let yourself be immersed in that space and then try and build a narrative and try and follow the curator's guide. But again, that guide kind of being very open. And this is just such an elegant way of achieving, like it just gives me that exact feeling that I have when I walk into a museum. But all they've done is just got like a sheet. Like it's so simple, but yet it achieves the same effect. And I love the fact that I'm just kind of left to try and rationalize in my mind, like why these pieces have been placed together. Like what is it that the curator is trying to tell me here in terms of the story? So yeah, hats off to you guys. Like when I first like stepped into this little experience here, it definitely evoked, I think, the kind of feeling that I think you were going for, which is really cool.
Yeah, also think the feeling of Museum 2.0 like works really well. Also here we don't have the music, but they have like this kind of really subtle song that make more immersive. I find navigate between this museum works really well, and you are really focused when you are like in one view. So having like, as someone say on the comments, having like this mix between 2D and 3D is really interesting and works really well. I didn't have any issue to navigate between paints. I find they have the good enough of paints per museum. Like every time I can like go through all of them pretty easily. The only thing that I find it's a little bit like tricky. It's this text on the bottom left with like this list of paints coming if you hover. So like someone say on the comment, and it's really true. Sometimes if the paint is really white, at this moment you can read the name of the title of the title of the paint. And also I find it was really hard to understand that I can hover this text and navigate between paints. Actually, I find it by mistake. I was just like trying to go somewhere else, like navigate with my mouse, and I see something coming, and I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And I find it really smart to have another navigation. I find that, yeah, we definitely need it. Just maybe having a button or like a label or like something to make it more understand, and maybe thinking if we have a white paint, make it visible, would be perfect. But yeah. Like in the overall of this museum, the immersion is really great.
Nahel, you mentioned something very interesting. It was the sound you can hear in these rooms, which is very calm and kind of neutral to still have this atmosphere, but not necessarily putting too much additional input. Still, I think this is also a great opportunity to choose some sounds which are fitting to the actual gallery. Yeah, because I mean, there's so much work in those things and so much love and passion about that, and we all know that we have so many possibilities to perceive things, and having kind of individual sounds fitting to those amazing works would be even greater, to be honest. And I think that transferring, and these are also a little bit, or these are also the little chances where we can transfer offline experiences to an online website, not just by navigating in a room, but also how things are set up, which sounds you can hear, like kind of trying to get to the 360 degrees experience, even if it's of course some way limited.
There's some really lovely comments about that, like actually in the live stream right now. I'm just going to read one out from Sophia here, which is that it just gives you that immersive impression of VR without you actually having to have a VR headset. Like you're so right. And I'm actually really curious. Obviously, like the jury here have rated this experience on design, usability, creativity, and content. And I think there's a score out of 10, like for each of those. If you guys like want to kind of head to the site yourselves here in the background, like as we're going through, and if you want to leave your rating, like here in the comment, like you are the awards community, like we would love to see that too. Don't just take our word for it. So leave your score for design, usability, creativity, content out of 10 in the comments, because we would love to kind of pick up on like what you think and what you're seeing as well. But yeah, go check it out and leave the comments too.
Good call.
Definitely. What is also interesting that besides of the experience of the whole, let's say, series of artworks, I think there's also a very beautiful way to deep dive into those art pieces and have a great intro and great additional information. It's a little bit hard to find it because the cursor is not really reacting to those different states. So it's Peter, you shared the experience that it took you a while to go through the room, and I have had the same feeling that there's definitely a potential that the actual cursor is showing you that you can go there with a arrow or with something additional to then give you also the hints, not only with the plus but also with more reactive usability pieces to really deep dive into a great experience.
Yeah. I hear the comment. Yeah. I wasn't annoyed about that. I know you say that. I'm like, yeah, sure, it will be nice. But when I saw it for the first time, I didn't think about maybe the navigation should be like more explaining with arrow and anything. But
yeah, I was annoyed by it, but not for the reason of like the navigation, but I just love all of this work. Like, look at this. Like, we haven't even spoken about the artwork itself. It's stunning. Oh my goodness. The students who have put this together are unbelievably talented. And all I wanted to do was to make sure that I could see all of it. And I think that there was a few like hidden panes and a few of like the way that these geometries were set up where I felt like I was missing and I couldn't get around the corner and I couldn't see some of the artwork. And I think that for me was like really frustrating because I wanted to see everything and make sure that I'd seen everything. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Jonas. I think if there had just been a little bit of like a hover animation or a little bit of like a cursor effect that had shown me, you know, like that kind of had guided me just a little bit more, I think that would have reduced that feeling of like anxiety on missing out. Like, look at this. This is stunning, unbelievable.
So it sounds like 10 of 10 points for content, right?
I love this content. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. I think it's really depends of how you, when you go to like museum in real life, how you are there. Like personally, when I go to a museum, I love to have context. I love to read about what the gallery is talking about, and then I love to be like lost. I don't really mind to see all the art on this museum. And so you said like previously that for you, we don't have any context when we go to the museum. Like we are just seeing some like art, but it was fine for you. So for me, it's like the opposite. I'm fine to be lost and not really know how to navigate there, but I need more context at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think there's some context given, at least about the art pieces itself, about the background and how these students approach those beautiful work, where you have really the possibility to learn about that in a let's say in kind of a magazine styled way, and where there's also a very interesting ending, basically, but just not an end. It's kind of starting of the start of a circle. So you basically never need to stop, or you never need to re-navigate yourself, but you have always the possibility to move within this case or within this gallery from piece to piece, which is also a very clever way to not lose somebody or lose a user. Help him to really deep dive into these different galleries.
Yeah, as we're scrolling through this work, one of the things that really kind of catches my eye, and this probably is for everybody who's watching along, who's doing like interface design, web design, like service design, like this school here is architecture. And in my mind, like the thought of like architectural composition having motion and animation and GIFs and all of this kind of stuff, like actually within it, wasn't a natural conclusion that I came to. But I don't know if, Jonas, as you keep scrolling around here, we might find some more. But so many of these actual individual pieces are animated. There's like little bits of motion, like actually in the work the students created. Like obviously that wasn't the Hello Monday team. Like this is truly the students' work that's kind of out there. I think it kind of really reinforces, again, like as someone who is probably looking at like 10,000 websites a year, like, and that's not an exaggeration. There are things that which kind of draw the human eye, like in your personal portfolio, in the websites that you guys are creating, like the subtle use of motion just to provide that contrast in amongst kind of like more static pieces. When it's done simply and like when it's done, let's say sensitively, not over the top, it can be really, really powerful. Like there are so many websites which try to do everything, and they've got all the parallax, they've got all the WebGL, they've got everything is animated and fading in and fading out. I think there are some great classes on the Awwwards Academy, actually. Like Louis Anza, who's a good friend of mine. Like he is a fantastic French motion designer, but he talks a lot about the sensitive use of motion. And I think that this site here, again, does it really well. Like Hello Monday have done it well with like the sensitive use of it, but also the students themselves have really kind of brought their work to life in really sensitive ways too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like,
yeah, I think, please,
now, just write in the comment that this website, dev and design, was done in only 3 months.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Definitely. All right. So what is also very interesting, and we were talking about that, is basically the mobile experience. Which is very, very interesting because it is actually the concept of this whole website or this whole show is perfectly designed or perfectly solved also for the mobile experience, because with the possibility to enter a room, you always have this perfect cutout, this perfect focus on what you can experience here, or where you can go into which areas of the website you can swipe, you can pinch, and you can basically experience a lot of things. And this is actually really, really interesting because that didn't need to adapt massively for the mobile experience, or that you have the feeling that, okay, this was mobile first and now on desktop you have a little bit of the feeling that it was just stretched out or something like that. It's basically not happening, and I think this is a very clever way to solve something. Maybe it was by accident, but I don't think, because Hello Monday guys are doing an excellent job, and definitely very interesting to see solving those things like that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, like that is no mean feat. Like this is like when you think about an immersive, almost VR-like experience, you don't immediately think loads really well on a mobile device. And I think these guys have absolutely smashed it. Like, and again, they thought about that from the very beginning. I think that given an open brief, it'd be so easy to design something which is like super processor intensive and requires like, just your Mac to be like at 100% battery, like even to run the thing. But again, like just in the simplicity, it achieves so much. Like not only does it kind of really emphasize the work, make it like immersive as an experience, but also makes it load really well. And I think that there's that Dieter Rams, like less is more, like less but better, I think is kind of what he said. And I think this is kind of what really is exemplified here. It's about less, but then kind of really forefronting the work. It's a celebration of that work, and page performance on mobile like doesn't get in the way of you experiencing that work. So yeah, really, really phenomenal job in terms of performance. Yeah.
I think what is also very interesting in this context is the target group, right? The target group is definitely, in this case, students or younger people showing their work. And there, especially in the COVID-19 times, a lot of mobile usage is happening. I would guess that this website probably have more visitors over mobile devices than actually through desktop, especially how it's targeted and how you can have this great experiences. So always look at your target group, focus on them, what are their needs and their goals and their pains, which you would like to solve. Since it's always since as designers we're always trying to solve problems, right?
Yeah.
All right. What is also very interesting, we didn't talk about the navigation yet. So how you actually navigate through this website. So we have here two things: the events and the index. And it took me at least a little bit of time to really identify that this is some kind of navigational button, especially because there's no reaction. Yes.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, and basically these two things here at the top are just highlighting some of the actual main navigation. So this is kind of, let's say, very interesting way to solve that, especially when it's actually not such a deep website.
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe that look like stairs, like as we have on a museum, to go to one stage to another one. So it's like stairs to go to one index of the menu to, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm saying too much,
Huge insight, and I bet you the Hello Monday guys now in the comments say, "Yep, like that was exactly what you were intending. You nailed it." Let's see. But no, I think why don't we go, because there's another part of the site, Jonas, which might be worth a little, because this again, like for me, was the answer to some of those like usability issues before, where I was like, well, look, there is actually a way to browse this in a more traditional way.
Yeah,
that's true.
So here we go. So this is the index of work. Do you want to give us a little tour of it?
Of course. So you had a little bit of a delay. So, but now you're back. So perfect. So basically, you have the two possibilities to enter some of this work, this index of work, where you have a great overview of different work, which is kind of the, let's say, somehow the list view of what we experienced in the gallery, and with different possibilities of filtering those things. And what I thought was very, very interesting is that with this overview, it's kind of the solution here is not like a traditional sitemap, where you have this traditional sitemap and every area you can navigate, but it's somehow based on user flows, because when I click on one of those, I am basically again in the actual gallery and have the possibility to move from artwork to artwork if the mouse is working, which is not. But you have the possibility to deep dive here into the topic, and you're basically back again in this immersive gallery.
Yeah.
What's also really interesting, like, when you're in this index is you can actually see the sheer volume of the number of students that are exhibiting here. So imagine like the physical space. I'm seeing in the comments like 600 plus like students are effectively like contained like in this experience. Like that's insane. Like again, like think about like the progressive loading that's kind of like taking place behind the scenes here in terms of putting all of these really rich pieces of content in front of us here. But one of the things that it just strikes me, knowing that there's 600 students, is that somehow like this design system that was made here is using like ratios and sizes for images somehow consistently, or the feeling of consistently. But actually, if you go through and look at all of the kind of details pages, the overview pages, there's like a richness in like the uniformity, but also in the variety of different shapes that the images kind of take across. That again is ridiculously complicated to do. Like, that's not just, you know, asking every student, like, give us all the images and we'll upload them via a CMS. Like, they've really thought about proportions, they've thought about ratios, they've thought about relationships. And so those work details pages feel consistent, but they're not if you actually look at them in more detail. So again, like massive, like 600 students, like that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
definitely.
So something that annoys me a little bit on this page is like the logo that is so big, and when you scroll, go like on the text, like if you scroll on the page, yeah, this. But like that is the first one that catch my eyes on first. But like having another navigation by index with like all the pane, I think it's really necessary on this kind of website, knowing it's like 600 students. I didn't feel it was that much work when I went in the museum before. I don't know if like all these art are on a kind of museum, or if they only selected the better and like put the other one on the index. The thing is, maybe if we have a little bit more context on this index, saying more about the school, more about what kind of art we can find here, if it's the same art here and on the museum. I see like awards item on the navigation. What does that mean? Who gives the award? Who are the students? Like, I have so much question. It's like, it's so inspiring. It's so beautiful. We need more context on it. But after I went to, we go to a page and to read more about art. At this moment, we have this huge, yeah, if you click on like one art, yeah, thank you. So at this moment, we have this huge explanation with text and image, and like has, say, Peter, even if everything feels like the same, it's really different because it's really matter of what kind of art we are showing, and everything works so great. So it's mean like, Element, they know how to explain things when they need to be explained, because here it's so well done. I wish it was a little bit more done on the index page, but anyway, it's just so simple. Everything works so well. As you say, less is more. It's like the majestic of simplicity. I love it. Yeah.
What is also interesting.
Go, Jenna.
Please, Peter.
Go for it. I was just going to say, like, I think if I could echo one thing you've just said there, like the strongest, which is like, I wish that I just had more context, and maybe like I'm not the intended user, right? Like maybe like the invitation to the Bartlett show wouldn't have come to me, but the site ended up on Awwwards, and now thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have no context are looking at this site. And I wish that like some of this content here in the About page was woven in, like you say, Nahel, like into the introduction to like what you're looking at, into the like, by the way, like we're celebrating like over 600 students worth of work here. And to that extent as well, like in that index page, I wish that there was a way to visualize truly the size and scale, because right now I maybe feel like there's 50 students. Like if I was to have guessed, having seen the live comments, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is also a very good point regarding like at the moment it's kind of a database of great work, but maybe there are also additional possibilities to motivate users to come back by some content format like behind the screen information or interviews or something like that. Having some kind of constant content flow to basically motivate people to come back, and also have the possibility to market it a little bit on online marketing. And what is also a great chance here is we all know that websites not necessarily always need to have a call to action or something like that. But I think that would be also very, very beautiful to have here the button, or to have here the possibility of well, you see this great work, then apply as a student for the next year and be part of this great work. And so we have a great circle in navigating through the website itself, but it would be also interesting to maybe focus or try to bring people to some kind of positive end, to call some action, and to have a great next step, right?
Yeah, totally. I think what might be an interesting question just to ask you guys is, like, what are the lessons that we all can learn from a site like this? Like, probably not all of us are designing websites for cultural institutions or for museums or for summer shows. Are there, though, like techniques or things that in this site you think are kind of more universal that potentially like we could apply to, I don't know, a portfolio site if we were making a portfolio site for ourselves?
Definitely. So I would like to maybe have a final statement by you before we move to the official Q&A section. So Nahel, what do you think? What is your final statement, your closing statement?
Yeah, so like overall, the feeling of a museum, it's a success. So like the website generally is like really a success. It's so simple, like all the transition between page are smart, the color is well used, the same for the font and typography. We have the right content here. I just wish having more context all around the website, a little bit at the beginning, a little bit when I go to a museum, a little bit when I go to the index page, will be like really nice. But like overall, it's a nice website. Appreciate, had a nice moment going through it, talking about it. So yeah, congrats for making this one.
Peter, just tell us just tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, like for me, that the best analogy I have is as if, if I was an architecture student, to a certain extent, Hello Monday have designed my portfolio for me. And there'll be certain things that I'm really, really happy about. Like, I'm so happy in the way that like my work here has been showcased beautifully. Like, even just the sensitive use of like color, drawing me in. My work stands forward. There's not a lot of like noise and like content to kind of distract me. It's all about appreciating my work. And so I'd be so thankful to the Hello Monday team. I think if this was my portfolio, and some of the lessons that maybe I would take from this, if this was going to be applied to something that was showcasing my work, would be like give the user a bit more context for you, like the human being behind this. Like I kind of miss out on the faces. I kind of miss out on like that human connection. I miss out on like taking, Jonas, to your point, like that next step. I would love to follow some of these students. I think their work is fantastic, and I just don't feel like and maybe it's in there. Like maybe there's like a little like follow them on Instagram, follow them on Behance link somewhere. I just missed that. So I think overall, I mean, Hello Monday guys, like white label this platform, like use it for other cultural institutions. Like it's great, fix some of the usability things, but overall, fantastic job.
Yeah.
To all the designers and developers out there, take this as a great example of how you can connect offline and online experiences, since we are all in the home offices or all in the by ourselves, and still we still need a little bit of stamina to go through this whole pandemic situation. So keep on creating websites like that, and really bring us all to the next level in the digital context. So thank you very much, Peter and Nahel. Rachel, do you want to opening up the Q&A?
Hello. Yep. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. That was a very comprehensive walk around the museum. Very interesting. And so nice to have Hello Monday on the chat as well, answering all your questions. So that was very interactive. We've got a few extra questions here. Someone asking, is the website immersive enough?
Yeah.
Question. Go, Nahel.
I would say, yeah, my feeling it is. Yeah, how that say, like with the song, everything is dark. You're really focused on one paint. yeah, for me, it's a success.
I think it could always be more immersive. I think that when you look at the work itself, like we do end up at a point where it gets quite flat and we're just scrolling through like, you know, a details page of someone's work. But to have gone any further, I think would have required a level of like down to like the individual, like kind of personalization, like to really showcase their work uniquely, which I think would have been very, very hard for the team to have crafted something like so intricate, like beyond like the like standard template. Maybe there could have been a couple more moments of like immersion, but I also think it would have been very hard to do for 600 plus students on a website. I don't know, Jonas, what do you think?
We all know the situation, right? I mean, let's not forget that there's the context of client and the context of time. And I mean, they definitely have been planning the summer event as a real event and creating something like that in 3 months with probably a limited budget and really focusing on what are the things which are important is a great talent or great expertise. And I think we helped everybody to show what are important things to highlight and how you really can have in this context of reality where there's still clients and money involved, unfortunately sometimes, but we're also happy that they make everything possible. We need to move in this context, and I think yes, it can be more immersive, but I think also that it's about the possibilities you have and that you choose the right way to use your resources. And I think this is a very good way, a very good example how you can use your resources in a very successful way.
Okay, awesome. I've got another question from here. You mentioned, this is from Excellence. Hi, Excellence. You mentioned seeing the merge between offline and online experiences rather than the online being a teaser for the in real life. What other experiences would each of you like to see expressed this way?
As in like outside of this website, like just a different experience in life, which we could all now do online instead?
Yeah, so a merge between offline and online. What else would you like to be seen presented this way?
Oh my goodness, I miss the real world. Like I just want to start like, by addressing that. Like I miss like actually going to like summer shows and like museums. So right now my hunger isn't for more like digital online pieces. I don't know, Jonas, Nahel, what do you think?
It's a hard question that needs some time to think about it. I think like a museum is like the classic thing to do like offline that we used to go online showing art. I'm thinking of this kind of cultural event that we do sometimes that we can bring online, but nothing came in my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, I think what is important is that we shouldn't replace experiences. Like, okay, well, we still should go at one time, hopefully, to museums or watch the sports game or do sports or whatever, or even meeting the team, right, in person. I think we shouldn't replace those experiences. But it's great if we have the tools and the possibilities to make the distance a little bit shorter or a little bit smaller. And I think just look in your daily life what changed during COVID and how digital experience can not replace but help you to basically challenge those situations or challenge these times.
There's something to be said about like the democratization and access to information. Like take for example the Bartlett school. I don't think I would ever have seen that, right? Like if it hadn't have won like the months out of the day, I never would have seen that amazing work. But now I feel so blessed for having discovered these amazing students. I think that's so true of like, many cultural institutions, but also just like the power of technology. Like we were moaning earlier before the live stream started, like it's 2020, like, and we couldn't get like the live stream to like stop being glitchy for like a brief second. Like, it all worked out and it's all perfect now. But I think it's also that we have so much to be thankful for in terms of like actually the access to this technology. Even right now, like we are here all together, like we're in this community together, but we're all completely on the other sides of the world. Like this democratization and access to each other to information, that is so powerful. Yeah, like I think that as much as I miss the real world, I'm also so appreciative for the fact that the Bartlett guys, Hello Monday, put that together, and there are lots of other sites that are like it, which are making COVID better for sure.
Definitely a silver lining. So maybe quick fire, what would you change about this website? One thing.
Gosh, I'm a big believer in ensuring that everybody who comes to your site can appreciate it. I do think there are some issues with some of the like readability, legibility, and like some of the usability like in the navigation. And I just wish there was a little bit more context, but that's because I'm coming to this very fresh. Like those would be like my two things.
I think having digital products or digital experience like that give us also the advantage to rely on data. So I think that there's a lot of data gathering here, or the possibility to see which areas have been visited the most, which feedback do we get, which devices are going to are used, and I think that of course there's always a subjective way to optimize things, but I think that having some kind of objective sources to really see how the audience and the target group and the personas and whoever is visiting this are experiencing it, and then look, what can we do? How can the next iteration look like? What is maybe, is there a spin-off possibility? Are we going to update things, etc., etc.? So what I think is very valuable in context with this question, besides of the question itself, is trying to not forget data, not forget user interviews, not forgetting to really emphasize with the target group and they want, because again, we are not designing, most of the time we are not designing for ourselves, but trying to solve problems through great experiences. And I think this is something we are always allowed to remember.
Yeah, you're right. Like, probably right now, there's probably like 100, 200 people off the back of this stream who are all simultaneously now looking at that website.
Yeah.
And although it like shouldn't be live and like you shouldn't see like other people in the space, it would be so nice to have acknowledged the fact that like other people have been here, and you know, this is a shared space. It's not just a personal space. So, you know, I love that insight. That's great.
Yeah, also like if I have to change something like only visually, I think we start to have something really interesting on the loader with like this summer rating and like this gradient of colors that we completely miss when we are more on other pages of the website. And it's really clean, like the museum effect is really here. But I found sometimes it can miss a little bit of personality because everything is so black and white. So also, I think it's a question of time. You can create personality to a website when you have time to make this involved. So maybe they didn't have enough time to create something clean, working, and with personality. So yeah.
Yeah, this continuous experience, just one more sentence, this continuous experience is also very valuable. Because when you look at the book, which we didn't do yet, but it has a completely different design. You could see it with the summer logo at the beginning. It has a completely different style. So I can imagine that there's some break within the consistency of the corporate design or the visual direction of these summer shows, or summer, not shows, but you know what I mean. So I think that continuous experiences to really enjoy and learn out of those things is very valuable, and maybe this could be something also to look into it and optimize the general feeling and the general experience of the overall context.
Okay, nice. And we're going to do our final question now, which is from Filippo from Adoratorio. Hello, Filippo. He's saying, many projects like this start from very rudimental concepts, as well as swinging budgets. What do you think is the way to achieve such great results and make the client believe in your vision?
Oh, I have the answer for this. I preach about it all the time. Like, there are so many projects that could have been that live and die like in idea mode. And it's because early on in the process, if you can't get everybody on board with that idea in a passionate way, which gets them excited as a business, as a developer, as a content writer, all the stakeholders who are actually going to make that real and put in real human capital, time and effort to make it real, they've got to believe in your vision. And so really early on in the process, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be compelling in the way that you can communicate that vision. And the technique you can use, scrappy concepts. Like, make it so bad that you've drawn it out in a diagram that people look back past how bad the diagram is, and they look into your mind and into your vision and paint the picture with your words, and it will get everyone so excited. I think as designers, we often don't want to show something until it's perfect. Do the opposite. Make it so, I was gonna use a bad word, make it so bad that people look past the fact that it's not about aesthetics right now. It's about the idea, and do that like super, super early. Yeah, that's a number one technique right there.
Yeah, I think it's everything about trust. I think so generally on the project, the client need to trust you really early on the stage. If he don't trust you, you make him trust in you. So how I will do that is like always like doing different concepts, always doing the easy concept that he want to see, because he clearly told you I want my website to look like this, even if it's not what you want for the website. And then doing like another version with like more stuff on it, more direction that we want to go, but not putting everything directly on the first concept, but showing meeting after meeting how you can improve your concept, but also always having another concept when you show that you understand what you mean and doing exactly what you want. And like that, you can make a comparison between that is what you ask and that is what I can do if you trust on me. And like that, more and more, you will finally find the right balance between what they want and what you want to do.
Yeah, and I would like to add something to that, because we are always trying to, I mean, as Peter said, as well as Nahel, there are different stakeholders with the client, yeah? So keep them very close to you, but also try to balance. I always like saying, like, there's like kind of a rectangle of tech, user, brand, and business. And when we have the right balance of that, we can also get creative. We get also inboard the stakeholders on board, and trying to really not forget one of these points, because then there's always the possibility then somebody can say, well, you forgot that, I'm not trusting you anymore, when does it come, etc., etc. So I think this is a great way with this rectangle to see your balance and to really focus on this is the solution, and ideally, at least from my point of experience, it's better at one point that based on your argumentation with this rectangle, there's only one solution left. Yeah, so of course you can go double diamond, like a couple of scrappy things, and then going back to that, and that everybody is sure that there's only one solution. The solution, the path we went to, is the best possible in the given context. So this always helps to also have a little bit of this scheme showing that we need to checkmark everything and to really focus on that.
Okay, I think that's a good point to leave it on. So yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to the students of Bartlett and a round of applause. And yeah, so they know from all over the world, people are applauding them and their work. And thank you to Hello Monday for joining us in the chat and answering everyone's questions. So if you enjoyed this, you should definitely watch our next live jury website review. That will be with Oliver Shevchenko, Anais Iris, and again, Jonas Lempa will be back. And that's next year. That will be on the 14th of January. Thank you everyone so much for joining, for watching, all of your comments and questions in the YouTube live stream. And that's all for today. So see you next time on Awwwards Academy. Thank you so much, Jonas, Peter, and Nahel.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you too. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.